It's Tuesday, March the 6th, 2007. This is Photo Walkthrough Tutorial 12, Chapter 4, Episode number 49. Almost the Big 5-0.
Hi John, Sushil from India here. Love your podcast and the amount of data that you give us, the tips and the shortcuts and the detailed instructions that you show us on your video. I appreciate the time that you take and the effort that you take into putting each of these podcasts on air, and we'd love to keep seeing them. So let's have that Singer Island sunrise. See ya. Bye.
Hey there, Sushil. Thank you very much for the comment. I really appreciate it. And I've just been checking out your phototip.blogspot.com website, and there's some really great stuff on there. Thanks very much. Hi, my name's John Arnold, and I'm talking to you from Cheshire in northwest England. And this week we're going to finish up our Singer Island sunrise photo. I've got an important tip for anyone thinking of buying Lightroom. And we're going to launch our second big photo walkthrough competition. But first, I wanted to talk to you about critique. Now, anybody who's been listening to the show for any time will know that I'm a big proponent of giving critique as well as receiving critique on your photos. I think it's a fantastic way to learn. Making yourself think about what it is you like in someone else's photo gives you the same sort of thoughts about your own photos when you take them. So I'm really pleased that some of the members of the photo walkthrough group on Flickr have suggested an RIA tag. That stands for Rip It Apart. And the plan is, if you're interested in giving and receiving critique, then the photo walkthrough group on Flickr is a great place to do it. And those people who are serious about wanting critique that is honest and obviously constructive, I'm not suggesting destructive critique, but if you've got something to say that's negative, as long as you can say it in a constructive way, those people who have put RIA in the comments about their photo are willing to accept those negative as well as positive comments. And obviously, if you're interested in receiving those kind of comments and perhaps helping you grow that way, then you should consider putting RIA or Rip It Apart in your photo tags as well. Remember, you can join the photo walkthrough group on Flickr by clicking groups at the top of the page and then typing photo walkthrough into the group search box that appears. I suggest that you join up. There's a great group of people there already, and we occasionally discuss things in the forum there too. And now I'm delighted to be able to officially kick off our latest photo walkthrough competition. If you're a long-time viewer, you'll know that I love Wacom graphics tablets, and I've talked about them many times. So when I first had the idea of running a competition, Wacom was the first people I contacted. Well, it took a while to get through to the right people in Wacom, but once I did, they were immediately very positive about the idea, and so here we are. Wacom have been kind enough to offer an Intuos 3 A6 wide graphics tablet as the competition prize. Now this is great because not only is the Intuos range among the best of the gear that Wacom make, but it's also a widescreen tablet. That means that if you have a widescreen monitor, then the tablet will be in the right screen proportions. Don't worry if you don't have a widescreen though, it'll still work. Also don't worry if you've upgraded to Windows Vista. The Intuos 3 range are all Vista compatible. In fact, these things work on just about everything. That means that Windows 2000, Windows XP, Vista, and macOS from version 10.2.8 or later will all work. All you need is a spare USB connector and you're all set. Whoever wins this thing is going to absolutely love it. I'm so jealous. I don't even have one of these myself yet. It's got 1024 pressure sensitivity levels, it's got tilt sensitivity, it can tell which kind of stylus you're using so you can have more than one and make them do different things if you want, and it's got these really handy buttons and a slider that you can bind to do all sorts of useful stuff in Photoshop. The pen's even got an eraser on the end so you can flip it over and have Photoshop automatically select the erase tool. So the question you're asking is, how do you win one? Well, that's the easy part. Just like before, we're going to run a little photo competition. And just like before, the subject for the competition is related to the prize. So, your challenge is to make a new photograph inspired by the word wide. That's all, just wide. You can interpret that however you wish, but it has to be a new photo, not one pulled from your back catalogue. And because this is a photo post-processing show, you can do as much or as little photo manipulation on it as you like, as long as it's all your work. Entering is going to be just like before as well, and this time I've produced a quick video to show you how to do it. First of all, if you haven't got a Flickr account, you need to sign up. So if you go to www.flickr.com and then click the sign up button on the home page, you'll be taken to this page. And on here, you'll need to create a Yahoo ID because Flickr is owned by Yahoo. So click sign up there, and then enter your contact details on the form here. Once you've created your Yahoo ID, then you can sign in using the sign in link in the corner here. Just enter your ID and your password, and that will log you in. Once you're logged in, you can upload your photos using the Upload Photos link here, and then click the Browse button to find the photo on your hard disk that you want to enter into the competition. Then in the tags box, enter PW Challenge Wide, and scroll down and make sure that your photo is set to public. Click the Upload button and that will upload the file from your disk to the Flickr server. You can also enter using the Flickr Uploader, which you can find in the Tools box here. You can download and install it there. Once you've got the Flickr Uploader installed, when you open it you get a window like this, which if you then find the photo on hard disk that you want to enter, you can drag and drop into it. Click the Upload button, and once again in the tags box, PW Challenge Wide. Make sure it's set to public, click Finish to upload it. And if you've already got a photo in your collection that you'd like to enter into the competition, go to the photo page, find the Add a Tag link here on the right, and once again enter PW Challenge Wide, click the Add button, and that's job done. Now remember, in order for your competition entry to show up, you must have at least 10 photos uploaded into your Flickr account. So if you've just created a Flickr account for the first time, make sure you upload a few other photos as well as your competition entry in order for your entry to appear. To check that your entry has been submitted successfully, type PW Challenge Wide into the search box in the top right, press enter, and you can see that your entry has been submitted there. Remember, the competition closes at midnight on the 6th of April. Good luck, everyone! That's right, the competition closes at midnight UK time on the 6th of April. The best photo, as judged by a panel from the Photocast network, will win, and only one submission per person, please. For more information on how to enter, visit www.photowalkthrough.com and click on the competition graphic in the sidebar. Right, sorry there's no composition segment this week, but I'd still like to set you all an assignment. Those of you that watch my Flickr feed, and I'm user Floyd UK, that's all one word, on Flickr, feel free to add me as a contact if you like. But those of you that are watching my feed will have seen my self-portraits all this last week. That's because I've picked up a set of studio strobes, and I've been teaching myself about studio lighting. Well, I've been sorely short of a model, so I've been taking a ton of self-portraits, and I've been taking the opportunity to learn Lightroom at the same time for post-processing them. So your assignment this week is to take a self-portrait. You've all seen my ugly mug now. I want to see what some of you folks look like. Remember, taking part is purely voluntary, and I'll show the best of the submissions at the end of the next show. The composition segment will return in Tutorial 13 Chapter 1, which will be in a couple of weeks' time. Next week we have something a little special. Listen at the end of this show to find out what that's all about. Now, without further ado, let's get on with the tutorial. The next thing I want to do is that this sky is still not bluey and greeny enough. So I'm going to go to my curves layer again. I'm going to add another curves adjustment layer rather. So once again, adjustment layers, curves, and this time I'm going to do a bit of I'm going to work on the blues and the cyans and stuff. So the opposite of red is cyan, so I need to drag that down sort of there-ish. Now I'm looking at the blues in the sky here, in particular the blues in the sky, and once again I'm going to be a little brave. That's just the opposite of green is magenta. There is actually, believe it or not, just a little bit of magenta in the sky. Did you see what that did? That's just, look at the colour of the sky there. It's got a sort of a turquoisey, almost greeny hint to it. Just drag that down, and it just takes that greeny hint out by adding a touch of turquoise, a touch of magenta rather. And then also, I'm just going to really boost it up with a little blue. So let's just see what that's done. That does a lot for the sky. It absolutely wrecks the orange that we've just done particularly underneath the clouds, but that does a lot to make the sky the kind of colour I'm after. So let's leave that curves layer as it is, and once again, as always, I want to use a layer mask to put this colour anywhere I want it. So what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to, again, black is my foreground colour at the moment, so Option or Alt and delete with the layer mask selected will fill with our foreground colour. And once again I'm going to grab my brush and I'm going to grab white as my foreground colour, using the X key to switch between foreground and background colours. And I'm going to start painting that colour edit into my image by just painting on the layer mask. And I started out a little bit too strong there. Yeah. Now I'm not worried too much about painting over some of these clouds, it's okay. Just painting once again along the direction of the lines that the light will travel. And just letting that. Now I'm intentionally going quite strong here. And I'm also just going to, because the sea in my world should have a hint of blue-green about it, so I'm just going to let a little bit of this colour touch the sea as well. Not too much, because I do want a little bit of sort of orangey reflection in the sea in front of where the sun is. So it's just showing you what the layer mask is looking like at the moment. Let's just back that off a little bit there in front of where the sun is. Don't work too much in this view, because you always need to be keeping an eye on your edits and seeing how they're affecting the overall image. Not don't make edits that you think you should make edits that look right. This should always be done with an eye on the overall picture as much as possible. And I think I'm just going to... No, I don't like that. I was just going to try an experiment there just to see how this colour edit affects the clouds, and if you look at that there, I don't like what that's doing to the clouds. So it's looking a bit awful. So just going back to my layer mask, let's just get rid of all of that I just did. There we go. Right. And you can see this bit where I painted a little bit too strong at the top here. Not looking good, that bit. Let's just sort some of that out. Probably being a little bit too anal about that bit. Okay. I'm liking the direction that's going. Yeah, let's see what we got next. That's pretty good for the sky. Okay, and the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add some contrast to this image. I'm going to start. We've worked on the colours. What I'm going to do now is work a little bit on the light, because well, actually, I'm just looking at those clouds and thinking they don't look so good. Let's just try a little experiment. I didn't do this in the original image, by the way, so I'm going totally off script here, but I'm looking at those clouds and seeing a little bit too much cyan and a little bit too much blue. So I'm going to just try desaturating a little and darkening a little. I've just done that on all colours, just for the sake of argument for the time being. And I'm going to, on that layer mask there, once again I'm going to fill the layer mask with black. Black is my background colour, so Control or Command Delete fills with the background colour. I tell you that every time, and it's going to go in eventually. And I'm just going to try painting in this desaturation, and I'm going to just try and do it just on the clouds. This is going to be tricky because there's so much light with that lovely orange colour and that sort of bluey colour that I don't want to damage, and we have plane desaturating here. So this, as I say, is thoroughly off script. I didn't do this in the original image, and I hadn't planned to do it in the tutorial, but it was bugging me. I was looking at it and it was bugging me. So let's give it a go and see if I can just fix it. And actually, I tell you what, this is going to give me the opportunity to just add a little bit of shape to some of the clouds here and there as well. So how's that looking? Let's just turn that layer on and off. It's not bad. It's too strong, so I'll just back it off a little bit. But you know, I think I'm going to leave that in. It has darkened it a little bit. Not really sure what's going on with the colours there. It's looking okay. It's looking alright. I'm not unhappy with that. There's a little gap in the clouds just there, look, where I haven't painted in any white on my... I don't know what's going on there. I haven't painted any white in on my layer mask, so it's that little gap there. So I'm just going to paint on that layer where I was enhancing the blue. Just going to, since I'm zoomed in and I clearly missed a bit there, and let's just go along the edge of the clouds just while we're zoomed in and just see if I spot any more that I've missed. A couple of little areas that I think could be tidied up. This is what I always say. I've mentioned this many times in the past. You can spend as much or as little time on the layers, on the masks as you like. If you've got 3 weeks to spend on this, you can find 3 weeks worth of edits to do. My advice is to decide what you want ahead of time and do only that, because otherwise you will spend forever. See, it's very, very easy. I'm trying my best here to keep the length of these tutorials under control, but just looking at an image, there are things that I want to do as I go around. I see things and I want to fix them, so that's why every now and then I get taken off topic and do little things like this layer here. Let's call that desat clouds. I've not been naming my layers, that's very bad of me. Let's just rename those layers. Orange 1, Orange 2, Cyan. Okay, so next thing I was going to do is increase the contrast in the image. It's already pretty contrasty, it's not bad, but I want to emphasize that feeling of silhouette. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another adjustment layer, another curves layer, and this is one of those layers where I just press OK without doing anything, and it's another one of those layers where I don't need the layer mask, so I can just click and drag that layer mask and drag it into the trash. Delete that, and this one is going to be a contrast layer, and I'm going to make it a contrast layer by setting the blending mode to overlay. Now that's way too much, so let's drag that all the way back down to somewhere in the region of there. That's 23%, which is not bad. And I'm looking particularly at the sky and the clouds, not at the sea, because the sea at the moment, I'm going to do something about that sea fairly soon. It's going very dark and I don't want to completely lose all the detail in it. So that's a contrast layer. That was the very straightforward. You've seen me do those before. Let's do the same thing again, but with a brightening layer, which is going to keep the contrast but generally improve the brightness levels. So once again, a curves layer. Once again, I'm going to do nothing to that curves layer. I'm just going to press OK, and I'm going to drag my my layer mask to the trash, and let's lose that. So we'll call that a brighten layer. And as you've seen me do before, the way we do brighten layers is we set the blending mode to screen, and as always that's way too much, so we need to drag that down, and I think somewhere around about there is looking pretty good. Maybe down a little bit there. I don't want it to look like night time, you know. I don't want it to look like it was sort of semi-night. I just want it to look contrasty and eye-catching. So that's what I'm aiming at. Is not too dark, but reasonably good high contrast. It is, by the way, very much a stylistic thing. Not everybody likes these high contrast images, but it tends to be my style, and it tends to be what I like. So you'll see me do a lot of these. One of the reasons I try and cover other people's images every now and then, and I've got one coming up that I'm really, really excited about, is because other people have got a different style than me, and I'd really love to show you more than just my style. So hopefully you'll see one of those coming up in a tutorial very soon. Now, I mentioned that I wanted to do something about that sea, which is coming up towards the end of this particular image. So let's do that. Let's grab. Now I'm going to do it below the contrast layer. I'm going to do another brighten layer, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab that brighten layer that I've just done, and I'm going to drag that onto the new layer icon at the bottom. Just clicking and dragging onto the new layer, and that will copy that brightening layer. And what I want to do is drag it below the contrast layer, and this one I do want a layer mask on. And I'm going to start off with the layer mask completely black. So black is my background color. Remember, the keystroke to fill with the background color is Control or Command and Delete. And this time I'm going to use the gradient tool that you've seen me use earlier. And we've still got linear gradient selected, and we've still got the second one over, which is foreground color to transparent. So I press OK on that. My foreground color happens to be white at the moment, which is what I need. And this time I want all of this sea at the bottom here to be affected by this layer, and I just want the gradient from white to black to go across the horizon. Now that's probably a little too much. Let's undo that. I've still got the shift key held down. Remember, I can do any direction, but if I hold the shift key I can only do the 8 directions there. That's a little better. And what that's done is it's just given us, let's just Alt click on the layer mask. That's now the layer mask. You can see the gradient line that I drew is from there to there, and everything where I started drawing was white, everything where I ended drawing is black, and that just brightens up that sea and brings back some of the detail, and that's the same brightening layer that I had before. I think I could probably, this now is the kind of edit you want to be looking at the whole image for. So let's just drag that to where it sort of fits. I'm concerned that there's a bit of a line there, and I'm not really sure why there should be. Let's just, oh, I see why. I'm just alt clicking on the eye on the background image, so that's just turning everything except this layer back on and off rather. So alt click on the eye on the background image takes you from the image where it started to the image where it is with all the layers turned on, and you can see actually in the original source image there is a line. So there was obviously a cloud that was casting a shadow on the sea just there, so that's why there's a line showing up when I do this edit here. So that's okay. I'm not, as long as it's real, I'm not too worried about it. That's fine. And I think the final thing this image needs, some of those people that know me are going to take the mickey out of me for doing this, as always. Create a new layer. Let's do a vignette. I happen to like vignettes. As always, happy to take your feedback on it. I've just made a new layer, just a new bitmap layer, filled it with black. I used Option or Alt Delete to fill it with black, and then with a big old eraser, and this time going to grab my favourite brush right at the top of my brushes palette that I showed you how to do earlier on. I'm going to grab the biggest brush I can, and I'm just going to erase a hole in the middle there. Now that's way too much, obviously, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the blending mode to soft light, and I'm going to drag the opacity right down, and that's the effect that the vignette adds. Okay, I like it because it just sort of holds you in the image just a little bit more, and you almost don't know it's there unless you're kind of looking for it. I just feel like it sort of finishes the image a little bit. Right, that's that image finished. Thank you very much for watching. I will catch you in the next one. Okay, that's tutorial 12 all done, and episode number 49 all done. I'd quickly like to thank our sponsor GoDaddy. As I mentioned last week, I use GoDaddy myself, and they're not only excellent value for money, but they also offer great customer service. The photo walkthrough website and domain are both hosted with GoDaddy, and if you're in the market for a domain name or a website, I really recommend them. Remember, if you're a photo walkthrough viewer, you can use the promo code WALK1, that's WALK1, when you check out to get an extra 10% off your order. And remember, next week I'm going to do a show about Photoshop CS3 Beta that's been out for a while now, and that's going to be especially interesting for anyone that uses Photoshop regularly, because I actually managed to get an interview with one of the Photoshop product managers. So listen out for that, it was extremely enlightening. Oh, one final thing. If you fancied leaving an audio comment for show number 50, which coincides with just after our 1-year anniversary, then please visit photowalkthrough.com and use the audio comments box on the homepage there. I would love to hear from you guys, and I'll play as many of the comments as I can in the next show. Okay, let's finish up with the entries to last week's assignment. And playing us out this week is another of my favourite musicians, Howard Jones, who's currently promoting a UK Hitmakers tour with ABC and Toyah, and I'll include a link to the tour dates in the show notes.
Between the light and the dark side. So take a stand in this place, 'cause we're building our own future, just one by one, day by day, free to choose a life that's better for all of us. Putting people's lives at the top is the first consideration. Changes in the heart of just one will affect entire nations. Don't give it up to the fates and force around us. We decide between the in and the outside. So take a stand in this place, 'cause we're building our own future, just one by one, day by day, free to choose a life that's better for all of us. Sons and daughters, mothers and fathers, sisters and brothers, friends and everyone.
Photo Walkthrough is a weekly video podcast. You can subscribe through iTunes or by visiting www.photowalkthrough.com. Subscription is free and new shows will be automatically downloaded as soon as they're released. And if you'd like to get in touch with the show, email photowalkthrough@gmail.com or leave a comment using the audio comments box on our homepage.
Photocastnetwork.com, your photography resource in the podosphere. Photocastnetwork.com